Hello, everyone. Welcome to Monday Night Live. This is Katrina with Sow and Tare. If you're looking for us, you're in the right spot. We do this every Monday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time and talk about all things homesteading related. And I'm realizing I have my safety glasses on my head, creating this fun hairdo, which is building a nest box for bunnies. And I did the quick and dirty way, and that is going to be the video for tomorrow. So, how this works, we say hello to everyone. So everyone let me know where you're from, what you're growing, and we'll get started here. And in the middle, I always have a pre-planned topic of discussion. If you have something you want to discuss, put it in the chat and we'll discuss it. All right. Scrolling up to the top. You guys were here before me. Hey, Joyce here. Welcome, Joy. Hello, all from Western Oregon. Welcome, welcome. And Verna's here. Hey. Verna is, you'll see her in blue with a little wrench. She's my moderator and she catches bad guys. And if you are growing in a small space, such as an apartment, you should check her channel out. She has all the info on that. And Dawn's here. Welcome, Dawn. Eric is here. Welcome. Says hello, everyone. Everybody's saying hi. Verna's getting tea. I have tea. It is spearmint from the yard. Not ready yet. I just put it in. It's steeping. It's steeping. There we go. All right. Oh, Verna, are you getting storms? I am not getting storms. It is blue sky here. Don't blame it on me. Silver Creek's here. Howdy, y'all. Hi, Tommy. Hope you're doing well. Oh, Erica says it just stopped raining a few minutes ago. So are you guys, is anybody in the tornado areas? Because I heard about several tornadoes. And I hope that nobody got hit. Well, isn't that a weird thing to hope that no one you know got hit? I also hope people I don't know didn't get hit. Yeah. PJ's here. Good evening. Good evening, PJ. Storms ended here this morning. Now we warm up to 80 degrees finally, Dawn says. Yeah, it is 70 right now outside. It's pretty nice. It's breezy. I like the breeze. Dawn says storm. Oh, I just read that. Oh, it's hitting hard right there, Verna? All right. Well, stay safe. And if you need to go, go. Everybody's saying hi. And you got sunlight in Texas. Yeah, you had fog, huh? Yeah. I don't need Nightbot, Verna. I don't. I know people use it and people like it. I don't want it. Joy is growing quail in Western Oregon. Hooga Homestead says, hi, hello. Dawn says, I just set seedlings out for the garden this afternoon to start hardening off. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. I have some out there that I need to plant still. Everything that I planted is doing well, except for some of the melons look like they got eaten. So I don't know if I'm going to replace them or not. All right. And Huga says, rain skipped over me, expecting some overnight. And the storms are just north and south of Silver Creek in Texas. Yeah, Nebraska had a monster that had a mile-wide base. I saw that, and I was like, that's a huge storm. That's a huge storm, and that's a huge tornado. Yeah. Oh, no. Dawn slept through the tornado sirens. Must have passed out when you hit the pillow. I guess. Yeah, my first experience with tornadoes was I did my undergraduate in Iowa. I'd never experienced anything tornado related at all. And they tested the sirens every week. And I think it was every week. And you knew that was coming. But then, like, the only time it actually went off that wasn't a test was when I was camping and we could hear it from town. Yeah, that was scary because there wasn't anything around. And I was in a pop-up tent, a dome tent, 6-foot dome tent, and the poles were slapping us in the back. Probably the most scared I've ever been. Yeah. No, thank you. No, thank you. Jay's here. Good evening, Jay. Says good evening from Huron County, Midwestern Ontario, Canada, in the lee of Lake Huron, traditional territories of Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and neutral peoples. Maybe I got close. That is a long place name. All right. Erica says this weekend, 15 out of 16 chicken eggs hatched. Awesome. One of my goats had her baby, and this morning my quail started hatching. That is awesome. Awesome, awesome. Yeah. That's what we'd like to see. Mitchell's here. Welcome, Mitchell. You're nice and warm here, Northeast Florida. Welcome. What are you growing, Mitchell? Or what are you wanting to grow? We have all sorts of stuff going on here. All right. Jay says, I am in Tornado Alley, but north of any currently affected areas. Heavy rain now. Stay safe, guys. Stay safe. You can't. So Dawn says, can't plant for another 2 weeks. I stagger them so the heat lovers will go out in the garden end of May, mid-June. That is late. That is late for here. But it's probably not late for you, or you are. Jay says, I'm late doing indoor seedlings and enjoying in some wintered over outdoor plants. I overwintered a bunch of peppers for the second winter. This is their third growing season. They did good. I just cut them back. I probably should have come back earlier, but whatever. They are recovering. And I also did not start seeds this year. I decided just to go the buying starts route because that's where I am. Except for green beans. Green beans will go in the ground because those are fast to grow. Yeah. Verna's going to plant her green stalks tomorrow. Awesome. Verna, you think someone hit a skunk outside? That's actually pretty sad. It stinks, huh? All right. Yeah, Dawn says, Erica, great hatch. I agree. That's awesome. Buster says, hey to all. We'll be listening. Have to finish feeding. Welcome, Buster. Yep. And glad you're safe. I agree with Verna. Yep. Mitchell says, we just have a few wash tubs with yellow squash and 2 more with watermelon and cantaloupe. Cantaloupe, if you've not grown it before, is an amazing, amazing thing to have out of your yard. It just, once you have it out of your yard and fresh, I mean, it picks itself. That's how great it is. There's nothing like it in the store at all, and you just can't buy it from the store anymore. Yeah, which is why I was so excited about the cantaloupe, but I don't know. I only have, was it cantaloupe or honeydew? I don't remember which one I planted where, but yeah, I don't know if I'll replace it or not. Looks like it's tasty to somebody. Buster says, yes, the storms miss me. It just got high winds and rain. All right. And Erica says, I'm mostly foraging for greens and berries this year. We will be starting a big garden next year. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. Mitchell says, we also have 200 Quaternix quail that are 4 weeks today and 300 that are 2 weeks today. Wow. Wow. That is a lot of birds. I don't have that many. That's a lot of birds. Yeah. Verna says, great to forage on your land. That way you will know what you lack. That's true. That's very true. And you also know what you have, especially if you pay attention to, weedy species and just read up on them, learn what they are, and then read up on them. Sometimes they have medicinal qualities or edible qualities, or hey, that's poisonous, don't eat it. And all these things are good to know. Yeah, for sure. So anyway, yeah, it is a little blustery here today, but warm and nice, not hot. And it is really, really nice. The quail are doing really good. I have the babies are in the brooder, and they are, I mean, they're growing as babies do. I moved Rigatoni. She's supposed to get her nest box on the 3rd. That's day 26, and they usually had. I think she in the past did like day 31 or 32 is when she gave birth, and so she's going to get that nest box on the 3rd. And so yesterday I moved out her babies into the grow out, and then sometime soon, maybe today, probably today, I'm going to move raviolis out. And the reason why I want to do it maybe today and not later is because I like to give the bunnies a couple days just on the bot. I had this weird thing, and I would not recommend doing it. It's what I have. It's worked, and I've only had issues with one batch. But it's a double-decker hutch, and rabbits in general are very clean animals. They have a bathroom. They know all these things. And so what I like to have them do is establish that the bathroom is on the bottom and where it is. And for every group of rabbits, except for one group, it was on the bottom. I did have one group that, I think it was just one individual that just couldn't figure out that the bathroom wasn't on the 2nd floor. But I'll probably put them in there before I open up the top, and they'll be a little crowded for a couple days, and then I'll open it up and they won't be crowded anymore. So that's what I'm going to end up doing. So I think I will take them out tonight. It's funny. Last night I took Rigatoni's babies after they ate, and they were little round chunkers. They were like round. Yeah, not right after they ate. They had eaten. I could tell they had eaten because they were so round. Yeah. Yeah. Verna says definition of a weed: any plant that grows where you don't want it. Yep. Oh, and your latest babies passed. Mama didn't feed them. Just pulled hunks of fur out. That's unfortunate. I had that happen once with ZD. She's now passed. And I think her milk didn't come in because she, like, when I found them, they were all alive, and I went to check them later on, and all but 2 were dead. And the 2 that were alive were on the bottom of the pile. And when I saw them, I got to them, and I handled them, they started squeaking, and she came running over, and she actually hopped into the nest box and grabbed my finger with her. She didn't bite me, but she took my finger in her mouth and just kind of went, like, get out of here, I got it. And she didn't. And I didn't realize what was happening. What was likely happening was that her milk didn't come in because she wanted to care for them. It was very obvious to me that was true. But I think her milk just didn't come in. So, yeah. So that's unfortunate. It does happen. And I probably should keep some goat milk on hand. They say kitten replacer milk or goat milk, like the powder, you can get the powdered kind, is a good replacement for rabbit. I tried once. I lost a mama rabbit. She died in childbirth, and I tried to keep her babies alive, and I failed. And I think part of that was what I was giving them was the kitten replacement, because that was something that someone had said, yes, this works. And since then, I've learned it probably didn't have enough fat. And I even have heard of people mixing in some whipping cream to goat's milk to increase the fat of goat's milk for that. So I'm thinking I probably need to keep a can of that available for emergencies. Yeah, but I'm sorry, Myrna. That's rough. It's really rough. Yeah. PJ says, I'm still on baby goat watch. Her vulva's massive. Well, she is going to drop her kids at some point. Yeah. Yeah, everybody's saying sorry, Myrna. Absolutely. Absolutely. PJ says, I'm sorry. Dawn says, I'm sorry. Buzzer says, so sorry for your loss. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. TM says, do you think it would be better to take them out in the morning or in late evening? Just curious. I don't think it matters. As long as they know where the food and water is, I don't think it matters. So if you do it in the daytime, it doesn't matter. I wanted to do it after mom had fed them. I have no idea how. I have some idea. I don't have a firm idea of how mama's milk gets reduced over time. And I am thinking if the babies are there, that's going to have some hormonal effect on her. And my guess from that is that if the babies aren't near her, then that might start to reduce the milk, just because the hormones are going to be changing, and that might be easier on mom. That's my thinking. No idea if that's true or not. Someone who knows better than I can tell us otherwise, but that is my thought. And so my thought was, I know what time about she feeds in the evening. And if I know what time she feeds in the evening, then I can take them after. And I'm pretty sure they ate before I got to them because they were little roly-polies. Yeah. Good question. And I gave my answer because that's how I answered it. I don't know if it's a right answer or wrong answer. Hey, Ed's here. You're hanging out with your wife. All right. He dropped by later. Well, say hello to Wendy, and we hope you're both doing well. All right. Everybody saying hi. Hi to Ed and Wendy. She will drop when you don't want her to. Is that the PJ? Yeah. Maybe. All right, Katrina's Kits. We have 2 people from Katrina's Kits here. For some reason, the date May 18th is in my head, and I don't know why. Did we talk about that this last time? And if we did we say yes or did we say no for that date? I don't know why it's in my head. I have to figure out why it's in my head before I set our date for our next time. I know I can't do the 12th. That's all I know so far. Anyway, let me know. Oh, and if you would like to become a Katrina's Kit, or if you don't know what it is, I will tell you. We do a monthly Cook With Me live, and I oopsed last time and made it live for everybody. And nobody could comment except for members, but I didn't know that. And so there's the link. You can just click the bottom one and it'll take you there. And it's a members only. It's Cook With Me live, and PJ and Erica are on here. They were there last time, and it's a whole lot of fun. It is members only, and so it is a paid thing, but it's super, super cheap. And we have a lot of fun. We make something different every time. I'm thinking pizza for this next one because I'm just thinking pizza. Let me know if that's different. If that's good. PJ says you were thinking of different dates. Okay, so I hadn't said anything. I didn't think I did, but I don't know. Verna says, I thought you said the 11th. I don't know. Oh, okay. Steve. Hi, Steve. Welcome. Quail and Homesteading Con, 124 days. Yep, I will be there. Who else is going? Quail and Homesteading Con at My Shire Farm is awesome. In the past, it has been called QuailCon. We are expanding this year into bigger and more diverse things. And the whole point of that is for learning more about self-sufficiency, learning to do all sorts of things. And it's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome. I'll be there. TM says, how is your garden going? Did you get everything planted? I did not get everything. I did not get everything planted yet. I have some plants that I want to plant. I don't think I've planted anything since I did the video. That's sad. That's sad, isn't it? I have things ready to plant. I need to clear a bed of grass first. That's what's preventing me. And I need to do a whole bunch of other things that are unrelated to YouTube and unrelated to garden. So that's where I've been is unrelated world. So yeah, I have not gotten everything planted yet. I will. The nasturtiums in the front are really, really going, and I need to actually go out there. I thought about this this weekend, and then I just didn't do it. It looks like the nasturtiums are going off that way, and what I need them to do is go up the trellis. So I think I need to redirect them. Yeah. Yep. Anyway. All right, I'm going to put the link for Quail and Homesteading Con. Awesome. Yeah, Steve, that's not supposed to happen. It wasn't supposed to be watched for free. It was. I've changed it now for that one. It was supposed to be members only. So if you saw it, several people did. You're welcome and sign up. Yeah. PJ says, I do remember the 11th because I have lockdown that day. Okay, should we do the 11th? Are people on board for the 11th? What day is the 11th? Hang on. What day is the 11th? Oh, let me see. The 11th is Saturday. I can do the 11th. There's 2 people on here that are members. You guys more can become members. Oh, it's Verna's birthday is the 11th. That's why you remembered. Okay. Pizza sounds good. All right. I'm gonna wait see if you guys say yes, and then we'll say pizza on the 11th. James says hi. Hi. Hi, James. Everybody saying hi to you, James. He's out of cookies. Oh, PJ made cookies for everybody at QuailCon last year. That was awesome. That was awesome. And they were quail cookies. Made with quail eggs, right? Yeah. Make pizza for Brenna's birthday. We can bake Brenna a cake. Brenna needs to become a member. Yeah. So PJ and Erica and anybody who is joining, let me know. Okay, Erica says she can do the 11th. Because we'll just set it. We'll do it. The team has a birthday cake. Yeah. So your birthday month is coming up, Brenna. That's awesome. Awesome, awesome. All right, if PJ says she can do the 11th, we'll do the 11th. Of course I can. Okay. Katrina's Kits. I'm going to put this in here. Cook with me live May 11th at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Hey. Okay. And then I will put the link underneath that so people can join that. All right, we'll check that off the list. Actually, let me put it on my calendar. Let me put it on my calendar because I might forget. Something's happening on the 18th. I don't know what. Cook with me live. Save. All right. I don't think your live stream goes, Verna, you're 3 hours different, right? So that would be 1 p.m. 11, 12, 1, no. 11, 12, 1, 2. That would be 2 p.m. your time, right? Yeah. Okay, we can make it noon. We'll make it noon. We're bargaining. Noon. That work for you? Okay. May 11th. All right, we can make it noon. Yeah, Bertie, you had said that one other time that late. All right, now we have scheduling done. You guys are funny. Yeah, it'll be fun. I have a really good pizza crust recipe, and Erica, you'll have to use an acorn or something like that, but it's a good recipe. All right. Oh, 11 a.m. is 2 p.m. your time. Yeah, that's what I thought. Steve is like, enough, guys. Here's the time. 12 Pacific, 1 Mountain, 2 Central, 3 Eastern. There you go. There you go. Thanks, Steve. That was handy, Don says. Yep. Oh, boy. All right. Well, I'm going to start our topic of discussion a little bit earlier. And our topic of discussion today is things that your quail cannot eat. And so I've always heard these things, and I have now had 2 people tell me that something in particular killed their birds. So that one thing is avocado. Avocado is it has something in it. It's called pectin something. Let me look it up. I probably should have had it up. Avocado and birds. It is called. Oh my gosh! It starts with a P. Toxic to birds. Okay, well, it's not coming up immediately. It did last time I looked, but thank you, person. Yes, person. And it's not just the skin and pit. The actual flesh of it is as well. So person is the toxic component. And I think a lot of times fungicidal toxin that can be harmful. It can actually cause death and does cause death. I've now heard this from 2 different people. One person was someone that came over with someone else who was interested in quail, and they're like, "Oh, those are the same kind we had. We took care of some from someone, and they all died because we gave them avocado and we didn't know we weren't supposed to." And that's very sad, especially for someone who is, watching somebody's birds. And then the second one happened fairly recently. One of the people that I sold birds to a while ago, and he has adults from me, and then he more recently got some chicks from me, and all of his adults, except for a couple of them, they were just done. They died in their sleep. They looked like they were asleep, and they had gone to sleep for the night and never woken up. And so I want to make that really, really, really strongly say, do not even try to feed avocado. Avocado does have this bad thing in it for birds. And it's not just for quail, it's for chickens too. Now, about dosage, I don't know how much it would need for that to happen, but just the fact he said that there was some in the scraps that they gave them. And so scrap doesn't mean like a whole avocado. So to me that's a very little amount. So I want to make sure that everybody knows this. If you are giving your birds scraps, make sure you have a separate scrap bucket for your worms. Feed your worms these things. Worms can have that. Worms shouldn't have citrus, but so yeah, avocado is the main one I wanted to talk about, and then citrus is another one, and iceberg lettuce has something in it that's not good for them as well, and I don't think it has an immediate effect like the avocado does. I've heard parsley, but I don't know why. So again, no chocolate, no things that you wouldn't feed yourself, that kind of stuff. But the things that, and garlic and onion, so no alliums. So the alliums, which is garlic and onion, leeks, that family, citrus and avocado, those are the three main ones. Is there other things that you guys have heard or experienced for birds or for rabbits or other animals too? I want us to have a hive brain right now so we prevent accidentally killing our animals. Citrus is also poisonous to quail, Verna says. Yep. And Steve says it depends on the ripeness of avocado. Definitely don't scrape the skins. Okay. So it's maybe on that higher on that layer. Interesting. PJ says, I've heard most farm animals shouldn't have avocado. Yeah. Isn't that funny? It's we eat it all the time and doesn't have that effect on us. Guacamole's lovely. Just don't share it with your pets. Yeah. So has anybody heard of any other things to not feed your animals? I tend to avoid giving animals mushrooms just because there are so many different kinds of mushrooms that their senses are much better than ours. However, let's say a dog gets used to eating mushrooms. Well, it might see something in the yard and eat that too, and it might not be okay. So that's something I avoid. Yeah. Where it says iceberg lettuce has no nutritional value and just fills them up with water and fiber, so it can cause them to die of malnutrition. There's actually something in it too, though. I don't remember what it is, if it's an enzyme or a protein or something. There's something in it. Yeah. PJ says, that's fine with me. I don't like it anyway. You don't like avocado? Right. So Erica says, I heard that tomato and potato plants. Right. So the greens of the plants, you can give them tomatoes and cooked potatoes, I believe. But the greens, the leaves of those shouldn't be given to your animals, and they shouldn't be eaten. Same thing with peppers and eggplants. They are also of that same family. I think okra is too. Yeah. TM says, I wonder if a little bit left in food scraps would be bad or good. That's exactly what it was. It was food scraps. It was what it was. So I wouldn't do that. I would have separate area for that. My citrus waste either goes back under the tree, or it goes, if it's from the store, it goes into the bin. Sometimes I'll put a lemon down the disposal to clean that up. Yeah. Any of the nightshade plants, PJ says. Yeah, and then those are the nightshade plants, the tomato, potato, that's hard to say. Peppers and eggplant, and I think okra. Those are all in the poison nightshade family. Like if you remember that it's not just nightshade, that's poison nightshade, then that's there you go. Raw potatoes are not good either. You're right. That's why I said cooked. In general, I don't give birds stuff that grows in the ground because they would not naturally go after something in the ground. They go after something on top of the ground. Yeah. Okay, Buster says don't give pregnant mares fescue grass. They can abort. Same thing with the mints. I have heard for rabbits it lessens the lactation. I have heard. I just want to keep our animals safe. Yeah. Dawn says I picked tomatoes and froze them in slices for the quail all summer. Not the plants, but the tomatoes themselves are okay. Yes, the fruits of the fruits of the poison nightshade family that we eat are fine for them. It's the roots are not unless they're cooked. And yeah. Yep. Petunias are also nightshade. There's a whole bunch of different plants that are in the nightshade family. So that, Erica, that's a good point. It's not just what your garden food is, it's other plants too. Yeah. Hey, Amy, welcome. Amy says, growing cucumbers for the quail. Yep, quail love cucumbers. And they also love zucchinis and zucchini leaves. They love zucchini leaves. The chickens do too. Yeah. Verna says, know that some types of foods can be toxic to quail. This includes avocado, caffeine, chocolate, grape seeds, meat. I'm not sure that's true. Parsley, I've heard the parsley. Rhubarb, again, the leaf is the leaf part. So rhubarb, the part that people eat, not me because I think it's gross, is actually the rib of the leaf. The rest of the plant is toxic. People plant it to keep away gophers. So yeah, meat, I don't think so because I've definitely I've fed my birds meat before. Rhubarb, the stems and leaves of tomato plants and salty foods. Right. So salt is another one. Yeah. The only thing on there I don't think about is meat, and I'm not sure why. That would be, I'm not sure why that would be true because they eat bugs, they eat meat. I mean, if there's something that's cooked, I'll, and I'm not using it. I actually give it to the chickens, not the quail, but they would enjoy it too. Foods and treats, uncooked potatoes, and salty foods. You are continuing. Salty foods and treats, uncooked potatoes, and most citrus fruits. Yep. Okra is not a nightshade. Okay. I was wrong. Thank you, Steve. Yeah, Dawn says I also feed peppers all the time to my quail, not the leaves. Yeah, birds do not have the spicy senses, so they don't do. They're fine with eating spicy peppers. Do not give that to your other animals, please. Yeah. TM says I'm hoping the citrus peels help keep the cats out of my container plants. Good luck. I know we talked about this. I think it was last week, week before. I don't believe it will work. I believe you should make a little fork fortress. And for anybody listening that's new, it works. It works. You make a couple rows of forks with the fork part sticking up. Make a little fortress, and the cats don't jump in your beds anymore. I had a neighborhood cat that used to massacre my seedlings all the time for pooping purposes, and he stopped doing that when I made my little fortress. But the cat that's in the yard now doesn't do that, so it's okay. Amy says there is endophyte-free fescue, but it's high dollar. Interesting. Right, sweet potato is not potato, Verna. Yeah, and I know you know that, but I'm saying Verna's saying, but sweet potato vines are very good for all your farm animals. Yep, sweet potato vines, and you can eat them too. They're good. Amy says sweet potato vines are also deer crack. Oh boy. Yep, good for people too, Erica says. Absolutely. And Verna says they love watermelon. So do I, though. So they might not get too much. Verna says, I think they mean meat we usually eat. I mean, when I make bone broth, I throw in the bones into my pressure cooker and I cook the heck out of them twice. I do 3 hours and I do two run throughs. And when it comes out, the bones are squishy. Like I can squish them. And so I actually feed that back to the animals, to the quail and the chickens. And it has meat in there. I mean, it's probably been cooked to heck, but they do fine on that. I don't see a reason why that would be. I mean, unless you're only feeding the meat. Yeah. Amy says rhubarb lead is too high. Rhubarb lead is too high in oxalic acid, but is great for cleaning cast iron pans. That's interesting. I would not think to do that. I don't want to grow a rhubarb though. The only reason I would grow rhubarb is if I had to protect my yard from gophers and if I had a market for it, like if someone would buy them. Yeah. Oh, no, raw meat. Okay. I mean, they have a crop. And they have like, as long as they have grit. I don't know, I'm not going to argue. PJ says, my goats ate all the leaves off my rhubarb last year. None got sick. I have got it fenced off now. It's under where they ate the fiber optic line coming into the house. Well, PJ, I think your goats have some very strong tummies. And yeah, goats are a different beast for sure. Rena says seeds from apples, pears, and such is bad for quail as well. Yep. Yep. Do hot peppers make the eggs spicy? Amy, I don't know. I do know that there was a study, and I need to actually ask my friend what the study was because he's the one that told me. But there's a study that was done with chickens and chicken eggs, and it was feeding them fish. And so, like, how long did it take before someone could pick out that the eggs were fishy? So their diet does affect the flavor of the eggs, but I think it has to be a pretty high percent. And I don't remember what that percent was for the fish. Try it. See if you can you market corner the market on that. Steve says PJ's goats ate the internet. I think what the proper term is broke the internet. Oh boy. Yeah, they actually ate the fiber optic line. Wow. Wow. Verna says you can give them part of the watermelon you don't eat. I eat all the way down to the white. But yeah, you could. How often do you feed your rabbits greens? Do you feed rolled oats? I don't feed oats. You can. There's nothing bad about that. It helps. I've heard it helps when they are younger. I feed my rabbits greens whenever I think of it. It's whenever I think of it, or whenever it's not every day. Or if I feel like mom needs something extra, like especially in the later part of their pregnancy, sometimes they're just a little agitated. That's when I'll give them dandelion and also willow too. They love those two things, and I mean they would eat those every day. They can eat them every day. And then I would also put in like a willow branch if once the babies are a little bit older and able to go all over, and they might be a little annoying to mom. I can tell. I'll throw that in there. They'll chew it up, but I don't do it all the time. If I lived on a property that had a little bit larger area, and if I didn't work full time and had more time to do some appropriate foraging and do some of these other things, I would likely do that every day. And I would have the young, instead of in a grow-up pen, I would have them tractored. So that is on grass. That's what I would do in a different property. The thing about having the young ones eat greens is it should be very gradual so that their digestive tracts get used to the idea. So they can have diarrhea very easily if their diet is a whole lot different. So yeah, I would do things differently if I had a different living situation and if I didn't have to work full time and I had that time available. Yeah, good question, Amy. Leaf. You heard rolled oats are like crack for rabbits. I think it helps them when they just have babies somehow. Yeah, it helps with milk production, Verna says. I do to nursing mothers the first couple days, Amy. It helps with milk production. Yeah. Amy says, mine love them. A tiny sprinkle of Boss in the winter? I don't know what Boss is. Does that stand for something? Oh, black oil sunflower seeds, PJ says. That also is supposed to help their coat. I know that. Steve says, probably the bacteria, possibly in raw meat, is the risk of disease, they say. Okay. So maybe they think that you're just going to be feeding them spoiled meat or something. I don't know. TM says, I would like to try that with quail eating peppers. Go for it. Go for it. David said, thought we were going to find out how well quail and rabbits swim yesterday. Did the storms hit you, David? I hope you're okay and everybody else is okay. Oh, Verna has noises. Peppers can help alter the yolk coloring in fresh eggs, Steve says. Does it change it to the orangey like greens do? I don't know. Amy says dandelion, plantain, purple, henbit, violets, goldenrod, oatgrass, leaves, and comfrey. Oh yeah, comfrey. I also give them comfrey. That's just starting to come back up. Are on the menu. Mine usually get a moderate handful twice a day. That sounds good. Yeah, Amy, diarrhea was a problem because the babies were stealing mama's greens. Yep. When I do give them greens and they have babies, I do hand feed them. I mean, it doesn't take them that long to eat a bunch of stuff, except for the willow. That I'll just put in there. But yeah. She says kudzu is good for quail too. Just get it out of the fields and not on the side of the road. That's a good point. You don't want it infested with pollutants. You kind of got drenched, David, and Brenda's back. Oh, they need water. They'll tell you, huh? That's why I love my Everflow water. It keeps on going. And it's awesome because it's connected to the faucet. And I know for people who are in the like in places where it's winter, you will have to do something different in the winter, like there, unless you put heat tape or something like that. And I'm just searching for that video. Show all. And if you'd like to see how I did mine, share the link. Here we go. Then this is, oh, I guess I should have written something before that. That's the Everflow water. It's he uses a float valve, and it's hooked up to a faucet that is on all the time, and it's awesome. Yeah. Amy says, Steve, do green peppers make green yolked eggs? I know red peppers will make almost very red egg yolks. Oh boy. Erica needs comfrey. I only have 2. I planted a whole bunch in the alleyway that didn't come up. I should have, when I got root cuttings, what I should have done is I should have potted them up and grown those instead. Yeah. Yep. Green in, orange out. Steve says. Green eggs and ham. There you go. Orlando says, hello, hello. Hello, Orlando. We were talking about things we should not feed our animals. Avocado is something most animals should not have. And then we're talking about things that they like too. So we kind of just talking about animal food right now. You're welcome to ask any questions. Amy's likely coming to PokeCon. There we go. Green ham does not taste good. That is green eggs, not green ham. Did you actually eat green ham, huh? My dad, I guess, this is way before my time. I guess he made blue mashed potatoes, like put food dye in it just to see if he could eat it, and he couldn't. I don't know. I don't know. Anyway. Sorry, guys. Yeah, so that's basically what I want to talk to you guys about is to make sure that you're not giving your animals at least avocados, and avocado, citrus, and alliums being the main ones that to stay away from. Alliums are the garlic and the onion and leek. And if you can stay away from those for your animals, then they will be hopefully alive. Yeah. And basically, I had heard, you hear these things just in passing. Oh, what can't they eat? They can't eat these things. They shouldn't have these things. And you read why, and it's not really a real thing until you hear it from someone who experienced it. Or like in my case, I got a text from someone that said, hey, all my birds except for 2 died overnight. They look like they're sleeping. Any ideas? And it's not a good feeling to know that that happened accidentally. It's a hard lesson to learn. But it's not a good feeling to try and help someone who is devastated about this situation, and kind of listing off things about, hey, what about this? What about this? What about this? And that was what happened. So yeah. Amy says green ham is okay, but the color will change when you take off the green colored glasses. Amy's feeling spicy tonight. Are other herbs, thyme, basil, okay? Yeah, as far as I know. Mine love marjoram. That's really, I haven't really fed them basil and thyme, but I know they love marjoram. Yeah, it's, I haven't heard anything bad about that, so I would look it up before you do it, but I haven't heard anything bad about those. I would try it. For me, it's more that the marjoram is right next to the entrance. And so is the mint. And I have given those guys mint and they have eaten it. But not nearly as much gusto as the marjoram. They really like the marjoram. Yeah. David says avocados never make it past my plate. Yes, but the pit and the skins might. And that what is it called? Anyway, that toxin is in that as well. Chickens eat anything. Yeah, but there's some things they shouldn't have. Some things. Erica says, I have 28 out of 58 quail hatching so far. Awesome. What day are you on? I'm scanning down. Day 16, they are doing great. Wow. Day 16. That's early. Yeah, so you want to know which day? PJ said, woohoo, Erica. Dawn says, mine love basil leaves, but the flowers more. Sometimes I like the flowers more. Yeah, for sure. Amy says, congratulations to Erica. Yeah, I actually need to harvest my marjoram before it flowers. It's going to flower in a couple days, I think. I need to do that for that and for the spearmint. Oh, I have spearmint tea. I should be drinking my spearmint tea. All right. Got another 20 coming tomorrow, Steve says. Amy's asking, can avocado skins compost? Yes, it takes forever. I do that with my worms. I should actually edit that video and get it out to you guys. I did it probably a month or two ago. I throw those in with my worms, and they love, going up against that and like getting in between things, and they're good for worms. And eventually they will break down. It takes a long time. Like when I clean it out and to get, clean out the worm stuff, sometimes those are still in there and those will go another time. I actually, I don't mark them, so I don't know which ones are there the next time and which ones aren't. But they do compost. And yeah, Verna says her incubator must be running slightly higher. Yeah. Oh, that's okay, Erica. You're super excited. That's why I posted twice. Steve says, yes, you can compost avocado pits, avocado skins, and even unusable or brown avocado meat. Yep. TM says, one day we need to talk a little about poke salad. Poke or poke? Just for fun. I am unfamiliar with this. Verna says it's good. At least it was when you were a lot younger. Okay. Okay, Annie. What? I'm confused, Steve. What does that mean? Oh, okay. TM says, I like a good compost pile. I really like to get a loamy. I've seen that, and I kind of wonder what exactly it does. If it's adding heat or if it's just like I don't know how it does what it does. I haven't actually looked into it really at all. But it's something that I think it's a good idea for people that don't have a worm bin, I think. Just because it gets your food waste into a usable form. I have no idea what's in that usable form, if it's cooked everything out of it or not. But yeah. Yeah. Say a lot of the homesteads here. Welcome, welcome. I've tried doing worms twice now, and they always die. I'm guessing it just gets too hot here. But so want to do vermicompost. Welcome, welcome. Where are you? Where are you? What are you growing besides trying to do worms? Worms can be tricky to start. And what I learned is I got my worms from a friend of mine. And the first time I tried it, it was so sad. We worked together, and he brought me worms in a little container with holes in the top. It was so cute, a little yogurt container. And he had like just a little bit of worms in there, and then like we opened up watermelon, and we got put some watermelon in there for them. And by the end of the day, when it was time to go home, they had all died in the juice. It was very sad, very sad. So getting the right environment for your worms is actually kind of an art. And here's what I suggest you do. I suggest, number one, yes, if it is too hot or too cold where you put your vermicomposter, it will not do well. Mine is tucked against the house, but in the screen and porch, and it shouldn't stink. So it shouldn't stink at all. It should smell, I mean, unless you put, a little bit more rotted food in there than you should, which happens. But it shouldn't stink. It should smell like good earth. It should smell earthy. And really, you should be able to have it in your house. I don't. But my recommendation is, instead of ordering something online or ordering worms or ordering something, is to find someone in your community that's local and ask if you can borrow, have, trade, buy a bunch of worms. And instead of just getting worms, have them scoop out a good chunk of whatever's in their compost or whatever's in their worm house, because that has the bacteria, it has all the little creepy crawlies, it has the right pH, it has the right moisture, it has the right everything, and you're going to have a better start than doing these little kits that have the coconut core and the paper and the this and the that. And one thing I would invest in would be a good paper shredder that cuts it this way and this way. And I try to do things on the cheap. So I did not invest in a paper shredder for a very long time. And tearing up paper just doesn't do it. It just doesn't do it. So invest in a good paper shredder. Doesn't have to be fancy, just has to be good. And then remember that you do have to oil it every so often. So they have these sheets that you just run through. Because what you're going to do is start with that good base. Start with that good base from whoever it is local. Somebody has it local to you. I bet within an hour of you wherever you are, there's probably somebody doing it. And what happens then is you have an environment, not just the worms. You have an environment. And if you want to start with a little bit of potting soil or even soil from your yard in there, then that will also help to jumpstart it. And then let them live there. Let them settle in. Give them a little amount of food, because another thing people go crazy on is they're like, ooh, the worms can have this, and the worms can have this, and the worms can have this. But you have to realize when you're starting, you only have this many worms. Like, they can grow later and they can expand later, but you only have this many right now. So you should only be feeding what the worms can take care of, can process over a certain amount of time. Otherwise, you will get things molding in there, and that's not good. So, like, there's, again, in a worm bin, in a home worm bin, you should be avoiding citrus and alliums. Avocados are okay. Citrus, alliums, meats, dairy, and bread should all be avoided in a vermiculture system. And that's because, the like zest that comes out when you peel an orange. My understanding is that is what drives them away. Like, it actually hurts them, like physically. Like, this is an acid that is on their, I mean, they don't really have skin, but I'm just going to call it skin. It's on their body. And if they're around that, then they won't do well. Now, if you throw in some peels, will it still decompose? Probably, right? But you may be doing your harm to the environment by doing that. So, not the environment of your vermiculture. And so with that, I would also avoid ginger. And I only say this because I use my French plate to grate ginger. And when you do that, you have all of the fibrous stuff left over. And so I squeezed that out, made some tea, and then I gave it to the worms. And it ended up molding. And so they just didn't go near it. And so I don't put that in there anymore. So, yeah, let me know what else you want to know. I do have vermiculture. I think I only have one video. I should have more, but let's see, vermiculture. This is a really old video. The person who was, where's the link? Was filming, was not really filming. There's the link. But this is a vermiculture one. Vermiculture. And I have an updated one that I haven't edited yet. But that kind of gives you the overview. And the point of the paper, you want to have about 50-50. So you want to have about 50% kitchen scraps to 50% browns. Some people use leaves. Some people use, other things like that. Shredded paper works really, really well, and we all get junk mail. So, I mean, don't shred the little windows, little plastic windows, but pretty much everything else is fine. Most newspapers print with soy ink now, or another ink that's not toxic. Magazines I wouldn't use, but yeah. Anyway, I'm going to continue and see if anybody has any questions. Amy said, I heard recently that a worm bin under a quail cage is worm ecstasy. I can't say that word. Ecstasy. I recently heard that someone who raised rabbits when they were younger, the older person, that they also raised earthworms in the poo and sold them for bait. Which is pretty cool. Dawn says, I have never tasted Hulk, but they grow fields of it around here. I don't know what you guys are talking about. Poke salad. I don't know. Oh, it's a common weed in the South. Thank you, Erica, for letting me into the conversation. I had no clue what that was. Val's here. Welcome, Val. We haven't seen you in a while. Hope everything's okay over there. Early morning, right? Welcome. Oh, it's a song. Steve says, Polk Salad Annie from 1968. Do not know this song. All right. Oh, it's common in Ohio, too. All right. Well, I don't know. Pokeweed I've heard of. Is that the same thing? I don't know what it is, but I've heard of it. Maybe I do know what it is. I don't know. Pokeweed was one of the first edible greens to appear every year for those that ran out of food over the winter. Oh, okay. Okay. PJ says, Lomi basically grinds up and heats your compost. Yeah, the heating is what I'm wondering about. Like, does it heat it so that everything dies, or do you actually have good bacteria in there? Like, does it take away the nutrients or not? Yeah. Brenda says she's crazy as ever. Stella Homestead is in South Louisiana. 5 minutes from Aaron. All right. Well, where is Aaron? Yeah, you can definitely grow. Grow worms. It will get too hot, but there's ways to keep them cool. So you have to find a place that keeps them cool and also is out of the rain. And if that place is, I mean, you just have to find the place. You have to figure it out. It took me a while to figure out where it worked best for me. And I didn't really want it inside the house. I had it inside the house for a little bit. And then like my house is 696 square feet, 96, 98, something. Anyway, it's small. 600, 900, 800. I don't know. My brain is tired today. Anyway, it's less than 1,000 square feet. And I just decided there was other things I could use my kitchen for than a worm bin in the corner. But it didn't smell or anything. So that's good. Erica says, I know, Verna, we had some of it in our yard when I was a kid. Amy's asking, isn't poke slightly poisonous? And the how of the cooking is important. Okay. And Verna's saying, exactly. All right. Be careful how you cook it or eat it. TM says, I like it when a compost pile gets good and hot. There you go. Erica says, pokeberries are poisonous. The leaves are just bitter. Okay. Any specific type of worm I recommend? Yes, red wigglers. And they are different than earthworms because they eat different things. I mean, earthworms are going to eat some of that too. But red wigglers are the type of worm. They have a different muscle movement than the earthworms. Earthworms have longitudinal muscle movement. And I might have this backwards. Earthworms go like this, and red wigglers go like this. So they have different muscle movement. But they actually eat they go in and they eat the food. Yeah. Poke salad can be toxic if not prepared properly. Does it poke you? Like a blowfish? Like that? Erica says, most people here cook it and drain off the water, then cook it again. Does it have any nutrients by the time they're done? Oh, wow. All the plant is poisonous unless you cook it twice with clear water each time. Wow. Wow. Ken's here. Hello. Hello, Ken. You missed our conversation about what not to feed your quail and rabbits and etc. Avocados are deadly. Don't do citrus or allium family like garlic, onion, and leeks either. All right. TM says, I would also like to get a rotating compost bin. I like a good compost pile. TM, I had one. I used to have one, but it had a seam in the middle, and it always was too dry. So it didn't because it had that seam in the middle. I think it leaked out all the moisture that it should have had, and it really didn't work that well. So what I recommend is if you get a rotating one or make one, that you make sure that it's not going to leak all the moisture out, because the moisture is important in that. Yeah. Yeah. And Steve says to get a 55-gallon drum and just roll it around the yard. Yeah, I've seen people do that too. Sayla says, I didn't know about the bread. I did put a lot of bread in my bin. Yeah, so the bread, what that will do is it'll just mold, and it won't be good for the worms, and it'll end up not being good for the worms. So yeah, bread, milk, dairy. Milk is dairy, but bread, dairy, meat, and those three. You like that? Those three: bread, milk, and bread, dairy, and meat. The only reason why not to put it in there is because the worms aren't going to eat it, and it doesn't get a high enough temperature to safely compost it before it's going to rot and go bad and ruin everything. Yeah. There you go. And TM, you roll yours around now? Yeah. Oh, Val bought a yarrow plant. They are so awesome. It's growing really fast. My comfrey is going crazy. Can't keep up with it. Awesome. Awesome. Two very, very good plants to have. Yarrow has a very good effect. It can be used to stop bleeding. You put it on and it stops bleeding. And I've done this and it works. And the other names for it are warrior wort and warrior's wort and carpenter's wort, because the legend has it that they would put it in their pocket or tuck it in the belt when they went off to war or went to work to be a carpenter. And if they get cut or anything, they plug the wound, and there you go. And then comfrey is the other name is bone knit, and so it does have some very, very good healing properties as well. So there you go. Amy's asking, Steve, do you know the song Fish and Worms? Amy, I think we listen to different music. That's a song? I don't know it. TM says you can compost a lot of things. Exactly. And you can compost a lot of things depending on the temperature. Like the there's yard waste that we've put in our bins here, and that goes out and that's composted. And that compost, a lot of things can be composted in that I can't do or shouldn't do in my home compost. And that's because of the heat and the management that they have. So their compost piles get very hot. They, have a regular moisture. They water them, the regular moisture that's checked all the time. And they turn them, like, sometimes it's turned continuously where it goes, up and down. Sometimes it's, every so many days or every day or something, this gets turned or whatever. There's different places do different things. But yeah, there are some things that can be composted or that should not be composted at home. Yeah. Oh no. Verna's, your yarrow died? You think your angry neighbor might have pulled it up? I bet it's seeded and I bet it's gonna come up. I bet. Dawn says, it's time for me to get off the live for the night. Everyone have a great evening. Have a great evening, Dawn. Good to have you here. Everybody's saying good night. Val says, my 7-year-old grandson wants a worm farm for his birthday. That info was interesting. I was going to get worms online, but now I will ask on the small holding group. You can get them online and just be prepared to baby things and have things maybe fail a couple times. It's going to be, your chances for success are going to be much greater if you have the whole environment for the worm. Like, I mean, and if someone has a worm compost, has a worm bin, getting, that much of whatever they scoop is not going to hurt their worm bin. Unless they're doing that for every single person that comes by every single day, that's not going to hurt their worm bin at all. And you will also have someone local that you'll be able to ask questions to. And, if you need worm replacements, my worms, I told you guys, I got them from a friend of mine. And several years later, he had, I don't remember what happened, but his worm bin ended up flooding with water and they all died. And I was able to give him worms back. And so that, I mean, that's a reserve of worms for him, for that, whatever that person is, that you can pass that on. And I think it's a great thing to have someone local. That's my thinking. I've started bins a couple times and it's been much more successful when you get the whole, the whole package, put it in there. And like I said, if you put a little bit of potting soil or a little bit of soil from the outside in there, just as a little bit more substrate, like maybe put that on the bottom and then put that on higher up, that'll get them started a little bit faster too. Because what the worms need is they need a place to bed and they need a place for food. So establishing that bed area, right? Their area where they're going to lay all their eggs and they're going to do all of that. That's going to be in one area. And then the next row up is going to be where the food goes and all that. But in order to start everything, it kind of has to be in the same bin. I mean, they should be able to go in between the bins. But anyway, that's just what I recommend. So hopefully that helped. Oh, you guys quoting the song? You guys are weird. Erica has raised worms under rabbits before. I think Andy Rabbit has too. Yeah. I need to figure out how to do that in the aviary or in the. Did Erica, when you did that, did you have a solid bottom on, like, did you put it in a bin so all the urine went in there too? Or did you put it Did you drill holes in a bin, or did you just do it on the ground? I'm very curious about this because I am thinking about different ways to manage the rabbit stuff here. Yeah. Oh my gosh, you guys must be quoting this thing. Berna, are you putting up a... Oh, I don't know what that is. Let me see. Let me see what you just did. Oh. Oh, that's pokeberry? I mean, it kind of looks toxic with the bright pink things. Yeah. Erica says, Katrina, can you imagine me trying to do worms in my house? Definitely in a room. Not in your room, not in your house. You'll have to build them their own house. Yeah, TM, it sounds like it from you guys, from what you guys are telling me. TM says, I think eating poke salad was a last-ditch effort to fight off starvation. Yeah, this is what it sounds like. Quail love yarrow, Verna says. I have not yet fed yarrow to my quail. Yarrow's in the front yard, quail in the backyard. Marjorie's closer. Yarrow does have a warning with it. If it can be used medicinally for some things that you guys will have to look up elsewhere. But it does have a warning for internal consumption if you have a blood condition. Now, I don't know what blood condition means, but yeah, but that also, yarrow is also known to start compost faster. It also is rumored, I guess, to make herbs next to it with taste stronger. So I don't know what it does. I don't know if it increases their oils or decreases the water they get, so that increases the oils. I don't know how that would work, but I haven't looked into that. But that's the rumor. TM says, I put a compost pile under a pecan tree and it did best it ever did after the compost pile was put there. That's awesome. You have to be careful with certain trees if you're over fertilizing, but there's hungry plants. Like if I had bananas, I would put a compost pile right in a banana ring, and they're heavy feeders. That's how a lot of people grow bananas. I am in an area that people can grow bananas successfully. I'm not in an area that people readily grow bananas successfully. I do know someone who used to live in this town that grew bananas successfully. Like actual fruit. Yeah. Just pure nutrients filtering down in soil. Yep. Yep, Steve. Scylla says, it's so expensive to get worms online. I'm definitely going to try and local. Yeah. And especially like if you already have, I mean, you have a homestead. I don't know what you are growing everything, but if you say you have eggs or you have, pork or some beef or some quail, like you can trade too. Like that's not above people to trade. And you may just find someone that is like, oh yeah, I have some, you want some? And I would check, I don't know if you guys have Craigslist over there. You said Florida, right? Like Craigslist would be a good place to check. There might be some local thing. Like we have Nextdoor. I don't know if you have Nextdoor there or not. But those kinds of things, I don't know if you can look for that on OfferUp. That might count as an animal. I don't know how that works. But yeah. Anyway. Uncle Jim's has them 1,000 for $39. That's pretty good. But again, what are you getting with that? Are you getting just the worms? Are you getting the actual substrate they were in? Or are you getting, a block of coconut coir and instructions on how to do it yourself? I think finding a local person is where it's at. And I have tried to sort worms before. Oh my gosh. The first couple times I went through the worm castings, I sorted out every single worm I tried to get every single casting, so it would not casting, the egg. And I mean, worm eggs are like that big. And I mean, I was gonna keep everything back. But after doing that 2 times, took 2 times, I shouldn't have taken one. I said, okay, whoever wants to go back in when the light is here, just go back in. And if there's some obvious ones, I'll pick them off and put them in there. But if they want to go live in the garden, they're gonna go live in the garden. Yeah. Yep. PJ said, so I don't know anything about the worms. What do you do with them if they outgrow the bin? They don't outgrow the bin. So their population ebbs and flows with the bin. If it's getting to be a lot of them, you can start a new bin. You can sell them to somebody. You can trade them for something. You can go to Florida and trade. No. Yeah, it's pretty much like goldfish. Goldfish will grow to the size of their bowl, their tank. The worms populations really do control themselves to their space and their available food. If there's a lot of available food and they're going through it at a decent pace, then they're going to make more worms. And if there's less food, then they're going to make less worms. So, and I don't know the lifespan of a worm. But yeah, that's a good question, PJ. And Erica says, I had a bin with drainage holes. Okay, a bin with drainage holes and earthworms or red wigglers? I kind of want to do an experiment. We'll see. Get them a new bin, PJ, or split the worms in other bins. Yeah, and the way that I have mine, so I wish I could find the brand that I have, because the one that is online, the one that's for sale online now, the worm farm, it works, but it's not the best. It doesn't hold the moisture like this old one does. And I show it in the vermiculture video. I don't remember the name of the brand, but it only has 2 trays, and I want more trays because if you have more trays, you go up and up and up, and by the time you get up further, the bottom one is done. Then you can put more stuff in there that way, and they can have a bigger home that way. And you can have more worms that way. So yeah. Yep. TM says poke salad is kind of like acorn flour. It takes a little time. Okay. Acorn flour does take a little time. I've made it a couple times. You're thinking go fishing. Yeah, they're not the big worms. Red wigglers are smaller, so you might look for smaller fish. Yeah, that works, Steve says. Erica says, I raise worms for bird treats and to put in the garden. Yep. Yep. My yard was just so big, TM says. Why are you saying that? So big. Oh, the compost pile? Verna says, rain stopped and it wasn't supposed to stop until early morning. Okay. Well, hopefully it's not the calm before the other storm. Steve says, people say, how much are your quail? And I respond with, what do you have to trade? I'll take cash too. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. If you're looking for something, or if you're like, hey, I would like some milk, or hey, ice cream, or, something, that works. Yeah, for sure. Val says, here in UK, people rarely trade. I love a swap. And I think people, I think we have the same mentality here. I really do. Money is seen as the goal for a lot of things. And it really is really interesting to have it's really interesting to have conversations about trading because people don't really know what things are worth. And so it's kind of a fun thing to be like, oh, well, what is this worth? Oh, it's this much in money, but what is it worth compared to this? you know, and it's interesting. But I think American people definitely have the same thing. Yeah. TM, do you use a tiller in your garden? I do not. I don't dig unless I'm planting something. So I dig and then plant something, put it back. Or if it is a root crop. And for root crops, I generally have predestined beds that are root crops, are for root crops. And so if you're digging for potatoes or digging for sweet potatoes, I have areas that I do that in. And when you do that, there's a whole highway, there's a whole world below the soil surface. And if you're tilling every time, think of how disruptive that would be for someone to come out of the sky and just till up a city, right? And you really need that delivery truck to go from here to here. But now there's a city without streets and without bathroom stops and without a gas station, and you have to rebuild the city before this truck can get from here to here. That's kind of what tilling does. Is it messes with those highways for like the mycorrhizae, that's the beneficial fungus, and all of that. So that's my reasoning for not tilling. If you are starting new and there is nothing there or it's super compacted, till. I tilled my front yard. I borrowed my neighbor's rototiller and I tilled the heck out of my front yard. When I moved here, and you guys have seen my garden tours, and it does not look the same. I need to do a comparison though. When I moved here, it was 4 inches of lava rock, that red lava rock, 4 inches on the whole entire front yard with plastic underneath. And there was topiary shrubs, like at a dentist office. And that was the front yard. So you shovel all the lava rock off, you peel back that plastic, and there is no life in that soil. So I did rototill, and it started to gain back life when I put after I rototilled, but when I put wood chips on it, and then that began to break down, that really, really, really helped the soil. It helped form soil and all of that. So I do not till, and I don't till the ground anymore. I did in the front. I did just in its initial thing. But my beds and stuff, they don't get tilled. Yep. Red wigglers. Okay, Erica, I might try this. Steve says that Google says, wild worms typically only live for a few months, while those in captivity can live as long as 4 to 8 years. I would like to know what they marked these worms with, that they can follow their ages. Wow, interesting. I mean, they don't get predated on, and they don't, have the environmental danger factors. If the worm bin gets too hot, they will die. So I have, on very hot days, like we had a couple years ago, I will put an ice pack on top of I just set it on top of the, I have actually set it in, so I put it in a Ziploc and set it in the worm bin on top of things. And that's not going to freeze anybody because they can go into the temperature that is regulated the most. Now, I did have some die off, but not all of them died off. And, that's when the worm bin can get stinky, is when you have a die off of worms. So, yeah. Yeah, exactly, PJ. How do they know? They put trackers on them? Yeah. And Steve also says, Google says, lifespan of a composting worm can vary depending on its living conditions and the species of worm, but most composting worms live around 1 to 2 years. Okay. When your air tag stops moving, you'll know. You have some big worms, apparently. Yeah. The worm conversations, they're pretty neat. They do a lot of good things. They process into I mean, we call it black gold. That's what we call worm castings. Those that might not know, worm castings that you buy at a garden center, that's worm poop. That is stuff that has gone through a worm, come out the other end, and is now what we call black gold. Because it's super dark and it is as valuable as gold. And that's super valuable. Have you ever tried using a vibrating stick to get worms to come up out of the ground? I have not, TM. Are you talking about like for fishing? I think that's supposed to simulate a rain, right? Isn't that supposed to simulate the rain coming down? Yeah. Steve says, I'm patiently waiting for black soldier flies to get active so I can get me some black gold too. Yeah. Yeah. For sure. It simulates a mole hunting them. Interesting. Okay. No, I have not done that. We have earthworms here, but it's not nearly like it is in the Midwest or like in Florida, where I mean, I'm guessing Florida has them, but where it's more of a humid climate and more of a wet climate. This is a very dry climate, so like they'll be in the garden, they'll find their way into the garden, earthworms will. You'll see them sometimes out and about, but it's much drier. So we have a season of wet and a season of dry. And basically from mid-April to mid-October, we don't have rain. And I know that sounds weird to a lot of people, but that's just the season. We don't have rain. And then during the other part of the year is when we have rain. So, yeah. Vibrations are similar to those produced by digging moles, which prey on earthworms. Okay. In any case, I have not done that. I do understand that they would want to escape. I found a humongous earthworm here years ago. I remember putting it on Facebook. This is way before I had YouTube. And there was like, it must have been like 7 inches long, an earthworm. I was like, that is a huge earthworm. Yeah. Verna says, see, cuz back me up. I think Google backed you up. Verna. Steve says, I got your back. We should have a t-shirt that says Google got your back. Oh, man. Yeah. I might do an experiment with my my worm tower, my worm farm that is the one that people can get now, the worm farm. I might do an experiment with the poo and see what I come up with, because I think that might be an interesting thing to do. And have to block it from flies somehow. Yeah, and get population up. Interesting. That's interesting to think about. Thank you for sharing that, Erica. Yeah. Well, tomorrow's video is going to be building the box for, what am I saying? Tomorrow's video is going to be building the nest box for the bunnies. I now have 4 nest boxes. I had 2 when I originally got my rabbits. I had 3 females and 1 male, and they came with 2 nest boxes. The one hadn't been bred yet, and so we made 1 more nest box for her. And then just now today, between work and the live, I made the next nest box. It's not perfect. It was meant to be a quick and dirty thing, and it was meant to show you guys that you can do things. Doesn't have to be perfect, and it's easy and fast, and anybody can do it. So That's what tomorrow's video is about. All right. Val says, I'm scared of big worms. My sister used to put them down my back when we were kids. Oh my goodness. That is not a nice sister. Verna says, my house in Oregon, Ohio, my front yard would come alive after dark, shine a light on it, and you would see masses of earthworms. Yeah, and I've been in places that do that, and that is not what happens here. Not at all. The ground is too dry. Tam says, I want to try burying a fish next to my tomato sometime. I've never done that. I know people that have. And I mean, it's decomposition at work, and as long as it decomposes, and it'll send out nutrients and be good. Verna says, my animal carrier didn't arrive today like it was supposed to. Now it's supposed to arrive tomorrow. Putting harvesting back another day. It happens. It happens. I got something early, actually. I actually got, I'll show you guys. Oh, where is it? It's right here. I haven't opened it yet. I got a scale for 8 pounds. It's a hanging scale. And you can open it. South Bend is the brand. I don't know how well it works yet. But for the rabbits, to weigh them, because they are so hard to weigh, like in a box on a scale, I want to put them in a bag and then weigh on this. So you hang this, you hold this, and then you hook whatever it is here, and that is, the weight. And so it comes on a keychain. That's hilarious. Anyway, so that's it. And I mean, I'm not going to be able to get exact, like, to the ounces like I wanted, but this is the only one I could find that was like this, that wasn't like 50 pounds. Like, I was looking for one of these. If you guys find one, let me know. I was looking for one of these that goes up to like 10 pounds. And yeah, it's like a fish scale, exactly. But I don't need it to be 50 pounds. I wanted it to be like a bigger thing that can read how many ounces, but you can't really read how many ounces this is. It looks like it's in quarter. Like I could go to the quarter pound, which is okay. So that's my new toy. Better put it back in this thing before I lose it. I need to figure out where its home is. And then I got a battery operated tiny chainsaw, and a little chainsaw that goes on a pole for trimming trees. So that came early. All right. Steve says black soldier fly can coexist with worms. No more fly problem. Just saying. Except I have the fly predators here now, so we'll see. Anyway, yeah, that's something good to say, though. Put them in a closed environment, maybe. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Turn the worm farm into a black soldier fly and worm farm. I wonder what else they need. I might have to look into that, Steve. Be my research buddy. TM says, I would get home from work about 3 in the morning and I would have cottontail rabbits everywhere. Yeah, that's another story, right? I had a job site that we did a lot of spotlighting for at night. We would spotlight for kit foxes and see all sorts of stuff. And some of the rabbits were pretty funny because they would jump like window high, like in your car, like, oh, okay, you're right here? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, do it in the worm bin. See if that's a good idea. I'm gonna think on this and maybe try it. I might have to order some soldier flies. Yeah. Those chainsaws are great. Yeah, I got a Ryobi. I have a drill that they're let me start that sentence over again. I have a drill that is that brand, and the brand is good. I don't. This is my first non-corded tool. Yeah, I have all corded tools because they generally have higher power. And for my purposes and for my location currently, they work fine. I can run it into. I have one extension cord I can run anywhere on the property. Now, if I were to go to a bigger place, maybe switching over to something that has battery operated would be a better thing. So this is battery operated, and I think it's going to be good. I have some plans for it. Yeah, it's a little one. Good night, Amy. Thank you for coming. Yeah, it's a little one. I haven't even opened the box yet. It came the other day, and I just brought it inside. That's right over there. So, yeah. But anyway, I have plans for that. I think the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to remove the quince, and Percy's going to move over in that corner instead of where he is now. So I think I need to do that. I probably should do that soon, but I need to cut down the quince. And I believe, and I will look it up again before I actually do it, I believe rabbits can eat quince because I'm pretty sure. But I will look that up again before I actually do it. And so they will be. We'll set that stuff aside for them to have snacks throughout. Yeah. Val says spotlight hunting is illegal here. It's called lamping. Very often, if someone comes, they drive off and leave the dog and come back. Oh, wow. I believe spotlight hunting is illegal in most places. I think it is here. I was not hunting. I'm a biologist, and so we were actually doing surveys. Someone thought we were hunting and we got pulled over, and that was scary. But yeah, we were not hunting. I just think hunting from a vehicle is like really, unless it's for subsistence. Come on, guys, have a little sport, right? Let them go a little bit. Yeah. Good luck with it. Thank you. Thank you. Welcome back, Vernon. Yeah. So I have to think about. So I'll be changing Percy's water over there, but he'll instead. Right now, his water comes from the same water bucket as the chickens and those rabbits. So his new water is going to be coming from the main quail aviary. I'm going to have to put a different end on that and then run it over to him. But it should be good. Steve says we can spotlight hunt for raccoons, fox, possum, beaver, nutria, coyotes, and bobcats. Wow. Welcome to the Midwest, where you can kill everything, right? Beavers here are actually making a comeback. They were here historically, and then they were trapped out, way back when, and now they're making a comeback. And unfortunately, nutria is also here in California, and the nutria, California Department of Fish and Wildlife is doing something it's pretty smart, but it's pretty funny, kind of. They will they'll GPS collar a nutria. Nutrias are highly invasive in North America. They're not native here. They do a lot of damage to ecosystems. And so what they'll do is they'll put a GPS collar, they'll catch one, put the collar on it, and then let it go. And then that one will lead people back to where the other ones are so that they can take them out of the system. And they call it the Judas nutria. I just thought that was funny. Yeah, there you go. Val says, yes, it's cruel. Rabbits and headlights don't stand a chance. Yeah, they don't. They also don't move very quickly. Yeah, Val, you guys have a whole different set of animals where you are in the UK. Yeah. Yeah, Steve says we hunt nutria at a friend's pond. I think nutria might be the biggest rodent. I think. I'm not sure. I heard the story about bears in California, the one on your flag. You heard a story? What was the story? Steve says I can send you lots of nutria. How many do you want? I think that would be highly illegal. So please do not. Oh boy. Yeah, they pretty much ruin the aquatic systems that they live in. I mean, where they are, they have their purpose, they have their niche. But yeah, what are nutria? Nutria are they're in the rodent family, and they look like a big rodent. Oh, you're fine, Verna. You're fine. We're just thinking there's a storm going on, and yeah, nutria. Um, so let me go to images. All right, here. I'm just gonna. This is Google. I just Googled nutria. Oh, largest is capybara. That's right. Capybaras are South America. Yep, that's right. There are bears in California, TM. There are bears in California. They did hunt out a lot of them, but there are bears. There are no grizzly bears in California anymore. That is true. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. Oh, hold on. I have to make it a separate screen. And nutria. Share. All right. So this is what they look like. Yeah. They are, well, beavers have the flattened tail. Nutria has the skinny tail. Muskrats are also smaller. They're smaller than that. But I mean, you can see they're pretty sizable creatures. This guy's holding one. That guy's holding one. I mean, they're pretty big. So anyway, that's what it is. That mean California has to take a bear off flag? No. Oh, you're talking about grizzly bears. Yeah. As far as I know, we don't have grizzly bears anymore. We do have black bears. So black bears are definitely in California. And in some areas that you wouldn't think as well. But yeah, no more grizzly bears. Sorry. Yeah, when people hunt, they like to hunt predators, and they go extinct or they go elsewhere. It used to be apparently that these tunnels were just bashed through in the chaparral, kind of like how elephants do that in a forest. They just make a new trail. That's the thinking that they used to do through the chaparral here. Muskrats are not that small. They are smaller than a nutria. They are smaller than a nutria. Val says we have bears in zoos. Yeah. I'd go elsewhere if you were hunting me too, Steve says. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. No, there was lots of misinformed things that happened. People always think predators are bad. Predators aren't always bad. Predators keep prey under control. Predators, so I mean, even things like mice or rabbits, that their populations go up. And in the case of bears, a lot of their diet is actually vegetation and fruits. So, that's something to think about too. But yeah, Yogi Bear. Yeah, Yogi Bear. I don't know where Yogi Bear was where his location was supposed to have been. I don't know where that park was. Was it Yellowstone? Anybody remember? I don't remember. But yeah. Yes, we do have bear. We do not have grizzly bears. I have met a grizzly bear and did not have my boots on and had food out at the time, and she was a mama. All the things you don't want. But yeah. I think I've told that story before. I don't know if you guys want to hear it again. Yeah. Steve says difference between a grizzly bear and a black bear: the whistle or bell in the poop pile. Not quite true, but yeah. Val says rats are our biggest problem and foxes. Rats can be a big problem here too. Jellystone Park, that's right. I knew it was something Stone Park. Jellystone. You guys both said it like at the same time. And yeah, so there's several years ago there was somebody feeding birds in the alleyway, which meant they were really feeding rats in the alleyway. Like they would just put bird seed everywhere, and we had the biggest rat problem in the neighborhood. And finally, it went for 2 years, and finally we got it under control. And hopefully they don't reappear. Every once in a while there'd be a rat, but it was an issue. Nutria is a third of the size of a beaver. I mean, beaver can get big, but nutria can get pretty big. I'm not sure that's true. 1347. Is that the plague? Is that what you're referencing? The plague is alive and well. We've had that in California over by Tahoe, I think was the last case I heard of it. And yeah, it's alive. It wasn't with rats, it was with ground squirrels, I think. Yeah. Hey, Lady Marianne, you made it. At least to say hi. Hi. You'll have to rewatch the beginning part. We talked about what you should and shouldn't feed your animals, specifically quail, and avocado is a no. Oh, they finally decided rats did not cause a plague? Well, fleas did. So there you go. Whatever the flea was on the fleas, or whatever the fleas were on, right? Transfer them. All right. Bruno, what are you doing now? Adult nutria, about a third of the size of adult beaver. Or 5 times the size of muskrat. I don't know. I mean, I've seen some really, really big beavers, so could be. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, Lady Marianne says, yes, we'll be rewatching. Awesome. Human fleas and body lice. Yeah, well, the ones that I've heard recently about plague have come from fleas on ground squirrels, that people, get the fleas there, and they've been into this ground squirrel colony and get into that. So yeah, just don't get into things that suck your blood. Those things can stay away. Val says, I bait the whole perimeter, but when they cut the fields around us, they come in closer to get feed. Okay, you need some hawks. That's what you need. That's what you need. C says, strangely, the ugly, destroying nutria, not even in the top 10 rodents. Why was I thinking it was so big? I don't know. Capybara is right, though. I do know. Once you said that, I do know that. Yeah. In Yellowstone National Park, you can get the plague. It's still around. It's still around. It's just something you're not likely to die from because we have advanced medical practices now. I mean, you can die from the flu, right? So it's not guaranteeing you anything, but it is something that people survive now. Where it was a very, I don't know what percentage survived during that time, but yeah. Steve says they are big. They just don't fit the regular roasting pan. You don't eat them. You could. Why not? Yeah, I mean, TM, the goal is just don't be around where there's fleas. I mean, that's where the goal is. And then in particular areas, it's known to occur. I mean, the same thing goes for hantavirus, right? So hantavirus is something that is found in rodent droppings and rodent urine. And so when people get it, there was a big breakout 1 year in I think it was Yosemite. It might have been Yellowstone. I think it was Yosemite. And it was because people were sweeping, like they were sweeping these cabins that hadn't been used in a very long time. And that's absolutely not what you should be doing. You should be spraying it down with water and just mopping it, because if you do that, it doesn't go airborne. And if you sweep, it goes airborne. So that's something, just a thought. If you have a chance to be in a remote cabin somewhere, maybe just go straight to mopping. Verna says in late 70s, early 80s, river rats in Arkansas were bigger than cats. We have roof rats here, which I believe is the Norway rat. I believe that is it, and they get pretty darn big. Yeah. Val says, "Babe, the flipping things here are not small." Yeah, yeah. Yeah, Nutria can get 20 pounds. Yeah, exactly. They're big. They're not small. They're pretty big. Um, I don't even know how we got on Nutria. How did we get on Nutria? Oh boy. All right, guys. I need to go get the babies from Ravioli and put them in and feed rabbits and all of that. You can keep your Nutria. Oh boy. Oh, hunting with a spotlight. That's how we got there. Thank you, Steve. I like to know where my conversations come from. Yes, so I need to do that, and I need to edit my video for tomorrow. So I think I'm going to get off the internet right now for this conversation. Unless you guys have any questions or something you want to bring up. Katrina's kits, we will be meeting the 11th. That's Saturday the 11th at noon Pacific time. And we'll be making pizza. So we'll have a nice relaxed time making pizza. And if you are wanting to join us, then you can join us and click the link. Where am I going here? Gotta get my link. And click that link and you can join us. Are you weaning those kits? Yes, that is how you wean kits, is you take them away from mom. And if there's a runt or something, then you can leave one in there if you want. That'll be fine. I tend to just take them away. They are older than they usually are when I take them away. I usually take them away at 5 weeks. They're older than that. So basically, they're not just surviving on mom. They've been eating pellets for a very long time now. So that's not to be concerned with. And yeah. So yes, they are weaning, and there we go. Verna says, everyone have a blessed night. I have to take Lucy out before the next round of storms. Yes, and be safe. Be safe. Yeah, good night. And Val also says good night. Have a wonderful night, guys. We will see you guys next Monday. And hopefully everybody has a wonderful week. Thanks for watching and have a wonderful day.